It's the best recipes in the world with Mark Bittman of the New York Times.
When it comes to tradition and fast food, nobody does it better than we do back home in the States. So I headed to Denver for a backyard barbecue, but there were no burgers in sight. My friend Steve trained as a chef, so his version of fast food begins with a pork shoulder that cooks a mere 3 or 4 hours in his gorgeous wood oven. Once again, being the intrepid food journalist that I am, I was up earlier than I cared to be, even though we wouldn't be eating for hours.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Mark.
It's very early to be cooking, especially grilling, but I guess we have no choice here, right? I wanted more coffee, more breakfast, more this, more that, but we got to get going.
We'll
here.
get the meat in the oven,
Yeah.
and then we'll have a little break.
I can put on my Speedo and go for a few laps in the pool.
Not that long a break.
So, what are we doing here? I know we're eventually doing fast food, but it seems like we're planning way ahead to do it.
We are, but to have great fast food, you do have to plan and do a lot of slow cooking. But what's great is at the end, the assembly is fast.
Right.
So you can have fast food that's really great food.
We're starting with the meat, obviously. What do we have here?
We're going to roast in the wood-burning oven a pork shoulder. It's probably my favorite cut of meat.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite cuts of meat, too.
I salted it a couple days ago with some pepper and rubbed it with a little bit of chipotle chili puree. And we're not using much on it. I mean, this is not going to be a hot, spicy dish by any means. You know, a couple days in the fridge with the salt, it permeates that. Some great flavors. Let's just get this in the oven. And I want to start it fat side down. The top side is the fat side. Now the oven's very hot right now. It'll cool down over the next couple hours. This might take 2.5, 3 hours. We'll put it in here and come feel it, Mark. It's got to be 800 degrees in here. It's very, very hot.
Yes.
Yes. But we'll get it close to the fire. We'll get a nice sear, a nice caramelization all over. You know, we'll flip it, do both sides, and then we'll push it back to the cooler part of the oven and just let it slowly roast. So it's almost like braising on the inside. You know, it's going to be completely cooked through.
Right. Well, it sounds great. So now we have a huge break in front of us, right?
Not quite. We're going to bake some black beans.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
But once we get the black beans going, then we can take our little break.
Okay, good.
Excellent.
All right,
let's do that. So, very simple recipe for the beans. We'll saute some onion and garlic with a little more chipotle chili adobo just to give that smoky flavor.
And these have been soaking overnight?
Those have been soaking overnight. They're mostly purple. So we have our beautiful sauteed onions and garlic and some herbs. And then I'm going to put a little chipotle chili puree.
Excellent.
And throw in a bay leaf or two. And then we'll put our beans in and cover it with stock, and away we go.
All right, say when.
Yeah, let's call that good right there. Perfect. Now grab my beautiful chicken stock, and let's just cover those. And let's go in the oven.
So,
the beans are in.
The beans are in. How long are they going to be?
We want to cook them until they're just tender.
Just tender.
Just tender.
Not too mushy.
We don't want them mushy. And that could take a couple hours. We'll see how fast the oven brings it up to temperature.
And speaking of mushy, I'm about to put on my Speedo. Breakfast and a swim.
Man, the thought of that pork shoulder in that wood-burning oven is driving me crazy. I think I'm going to steal it for my next column. As you can see, I do some of my best work lying on my back. But I better get back to Steve.
All right, Mark, the pork shoulder has been roasting now for 3 hours, and we think it's done. Look how beautiful and caramelized it is. These are the great little bits, these great little caramelized bits. And it's definitely pulling away from the bone, and it's done. So let's take it out, and let's let it rest for 45 minutes.
Now tell me why you like to do that, Steve.
Well, first of all, if you cut into it now, the juices are just going to run wild, and we don't want that to happen. And also, I like the flavors when it's more toward room temperature.
The mellowness of room temperature food can be a lot fuller.
It'll be warm, and I think you'll like it very much.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the way it looks. Well, we got it all.
It's all ready to go. Let's slice the meat.
Do I have time for another swim?
You don't.
Oh.
It's time to make burritos. So, There is a funky bone in the pork shoulder, so we're going to try to cut around that as best as possible.
Yeah, it runs horizontal, right?
And you'll see it when it comes out. It's a tricky shape, so separate the two. And you know, really, Mark, this is almost just falling apart by itself. There's not a lot of cutting going on here.
But you're not considering this overcooked by any means.
Not at all. You'll see how juicy it is. Let's go ahead and slice. This is maybe an unconventional way of preparing meat for a burrito, but I think some beautiful thin slices, and it's sort of sliced, shredded.
Sliced and falling apart at the same time.
Yeah. And just take a little bite of that. Just tell me how succulent that is.
You don't mind if I take a good bite of it, do you?
Well, that's the best crispy part.
Premium right now. It's unbelievable. There's really no heat left from the chipotle paste.
I think the chipotle though lends a background. I mean, there is a smoky, spicy background to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that should be enough for a few burritos.
It's hard not to eat it, but we must move on.
Let's go heat up a tortilla and make a burrito.
These can't take more than a few seconds, right?
I just want to get them soft. And when they puff up a little bit, we know we can flip it over.
See the little blistering? Is that what you mean?
Exactly, just a little bit of color. That's beautiful.
Okay. All right, it's
Mark.
game time.
Let's put it together.
See what fast food happens when it's fast.
Okay, so a little cilantro lime rice to start, and some beautiful baked black beans, and some pork. And
Don't overfill, remember.
Don't overfill. Just sort of smear the guacamole in there.
On here? I don't want to mess up your technique.
No, I think that looks beautiful. How about one more spoonful?
Okay.
Just a little bit. That looks nice. And then the rolling.
The rolling is the tricky part.
Would you like to roll, or would you like me to roll?
I want a lesson.
Very simple.
There you go.
We'll just cut this in half.
Ah,
Look at that.
Gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. Simple, beautiful thing. Slow to start, but fast to finish. Beautiful combination of flavors, really. Nicely done.
Thanks for your help.
Slow-cooked fast food. It's all in the timing. Fast food. Most of us, most of the time, use it as a quick fix, nothing more. But from my point of view, you can shop fast, prep fast, cook fast, even eat fast if you want to. As long as you remember, when it comes to fast food, make sure it's good food, too.